How much for a first-time home buyer should they save for this whole process?
How much should they save?
Should save. I know that with the FHA is 3%, and also for the closing. Like, what is the ideal amount that they should have for everything?
All right, so FHA is 3.5% down payment. Conventional can be 3 to 5% down payment. VA could be up to 100%. Closing costs is typically around 4 to 5% of the loan amount. I tell everybody to go with the 5% number. It's always best to go worst case scenario versus the best case scenario. Always plan for the worst. So that's 8.5% right there. If you're buying a 3 or 4 unit multi-property, owner-occupied multi-family property, you need to have 3 months of reserves. The reserves is your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. All right, the monthly payments of the tax and insurance. We call it PITI in our world, but your mortgage payment. So if your mortgage payment is $3,000, you need $9,000 post-closing. It could be in the form of a retirement account, you know, it can be in your stocks, bonds, whatever. But you need to have, but if you don't have that, then you need to have that money liquid in your bank account. So on top of that, if you're buying a multifamily, on top of that 8.5% for down payment and closing costs, you need that 3 months of reserves, only if you're buying a 3 or 4 family unit. Now, I'm a fan of the more money the better. You know, too many people go into buying homes and they have not a pot to piss in. They're house rich and cash poor. The boiler can break. If you buy a multifamily, the tenant doesn't have to pay. You know, many things can happen. So I think you should always have more than 3 months of reserves, just so you're comfortable. God forbid anything happens, because life happens, you know, life happens. So I say ideally, if you can have 10%, 11% of the total sales price, which in New York it can be a substantial amount of money, but I think that's what you should have. But there's a lot of people out here, there's a lot of programs out here where you don't need it. You can get grants, you know, but the grants are kind of hard to get qualified for depending on your income. But if you can get the grants, then why not? But still, you should have that money, because now you use the free money, so to speak, and you still have your money at your reserve. So, always have a cushion. Like I said, always have a cushion. It's always good to have more than to have less. Got that?
Except when it comes to cash.
Except for cash. But now, if you got your mattress money, then you're good.
Right.
So it's still cash, but you should have it in your bank account earning some type of interest. You can't earn no interest in your mattress. So, you know, the more the money, the better. But again, it's New York, it's New Jersey, it can get expensive. There's a lot of people out here that buy homes that really just have down payment. You can get a seller's concession. Now with FHA, the max seller's concession is 6% of the sales price. With conventional, if you're putting down 5%, let's just say, the max is 3% of the sales price. And that's only if the seller agrees to pay or give you a seller's concession. Now, here's the thing. Let's get into appraisals, right? If you're getting a seller's concession, the house has to appraise for that extra amount. So let's just use easy numbers here. If you're buying a home for $100,000 and you're looking for a 6% seller's concession, that's $6,000. The house now has to appraise for $106,000 in order for you to get that seller's concession. The seller will still net the $100K, but now that 6K, your down payment is based off that higher amount, the 106, not the 100, and that 6K is being financed. Most people ask me, well, Matt, if I'm financing it, why the hell does the seller care? Sellers care. They just care. I don't know why. They just care. Maybe you can answer that question. You know what? Come on up here. Because you're a realtor and you deal with this shit all day long, right? Why the hell do sellers care if someone's getting a seller's concession or not? Come on, camera girl. Come on. You're already here. We need to know. Why do sellers care if a buyer is getting a seller's concession or not?
Because the $6,000 still goes on their end. Even though they're giving it back to you, they're still getting $106,000.
And they're getting taxed on that?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
So that's why they care. Unfortunately, sellers care about a whole bunch of stuff that they shouldn't care about, or as the buyer you feel that they shouldn't. But you have to think about it too. For most people, these are the home, they've been in a home for 20 years, they care about their memories. They care about the home that they raised their family in. Another thing to tell you guys too, if you walk into someone's house And you're like, I don't really like this bathroom. I don't really like this kitchen. I don't like how they did the walls. That seller's not selling their home, especially if they've raised their family there. Sellers care about a lot of stuff.
Damn, I never thought about that.
A lot.
You see us buyers, we don't give a fuck, right? We run after dogs. Fuck you, guys and shit.
I've seen it happen. And then when you get outside and you're going over your finances, that's the best house for you. And now you want to put an offer in, but the seller remembered you. The seller remembered how you walked through, you halfway didn't say hi.
Come in camera, girl. Come in camera. You guys get these gems for the camera.
The seller remembered how you went in there, you didn't say hi, how you looked at the kids. The seller remembers all of that. When you start going in there, I don't care if you do. If you want to make it an open floor plan, you want to knock down walls. Once you walk in and you see pictures of generations on the wall, you do not walk in there and say, I'm going to knock down this wall, I'm going to redo this, and I'm going to redo that, especially if you want the home. A lot of older homes, you do need to do renovations to it, but they don't see that. They see that, you know, little John and Pookie and the rest of them, they swung on the tree, they see their knee on the front step, and that's what they see, and they want to give it to someone that they feel will take care of the house the same way that they would. So if that's a house that you want, just walk in there, smell, make sure to speak, and tell them how much you like the house. But don't walk through there telling them what they're going to do, what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, and all that other stuff.
All right,
So
Not the house.
how does that play into the FHA 203K loan though? Because you have to get a contract to come and look at the house.
Well, when you do the inspection, usually homeowners they'll leave for the inspection, but their broker will be there. If the homeowner's there, they know that things are wrong with the house. But it's different from having a contractor telling you that you have to replace a chimney liner and repoint brick on a chimney and you might need a new boiler. Like, they knew that. That's why they're selling it. Either they downgrading, they can't keep up with the house no more, or they doing something. Those are the things that they know. But while you're in there, you're just pointing stuff out to your contractor. You know, make sure to give me a price on taking this down, doing that, whatever. But you're not yelling through the thing like, I want to take down all of this here. Like, that's not what you're going to do if you really want the house. Because remember, the house isn't yours until contracts are countersigned. You can sign contracts, that does not mean that house is yours. They still have to countersign. So whatever impression you make on them, then that's the impression that they're going to go with. The house is not yours until contracts are countersigned. And even with that, something else can happen. If you, while you're signing a contract, you still make a bad impression, but however, something's wrong with your bank, or something's wrong with your pay stubs, or something's wrong with your credit report, and now you need to go for an extension. They can decline your extension because now they no longer like you. You get what I'm saying? The house isn't yours. It's about 75% yours until contracts are countersigned. But even with that, something can happen, and the seller can still walk away from the deal.
I like that. So, all right, hold on, stay here. So,
I didn't think I was speaking.
well, oh wow, shit happens, right? So, new buyers, they get an appraisal, right? What should they know about that appraisal process from a realtor's perspective? Like, how are you prepping all these first-time home buyers for the appraisal?
Okay, so most of your agents should have already pulled comps. We're in a seller's market, unfortunately. So in order for you to get the home, sometimes you have to bid higher than what the house is listed for in order for you to get it. If you have a good seller's agent, I've had seller's agent come to me and say, you know what, I really liked your offer, but I'm scared that the house won't appraise for that value. Let's just go with what we asked for, and we'll work it out from there. Or sometimes you'll have people that accept the $20,000 over, knowing that the house isn't going to appraise for that. So unless your lawyer puts in a clause in your contract, it's called an appraisal contingency clause that says that if the house doesn't appraise, you can walk away, because the bank isn't going to give you any more than what the house appraises for.
Correct.
However, some people just have to have that home. So if the house appraises for $5,000 less, most people will pay that extra amount. However, if the house appraises for $25,000 less, now you need to renegotiate. I think a good attorney will put $5,000 to $10,000 in a contingency. I mean, if you really want it, you'll pay it. But anything over that, I wouldn't suggest to do.
I like that. So now, sticking with appraisals, right? In seller's concessions, the house has to appraise. That's the most key important. So like she said, comps. Comps are your best friends. Don't go and put in offers and you know that the house is going to appraise and you know you need a seller's concession. You got to put in a realistic offer.
But your agent should pull that for you.
But the agent should definitely pull that for you, but a lot of agents don't do it, unfortunately. So with the technology that's available to all of us, you can easily pull up and see what the home sales are. Don't look at the Zestimate, because that's really not going to give you an accurate number. Just look at the home sales, and that can give you an idea, but you need a good realtor that can really pull everything for you, because the appraisal is the most important piece, besides title, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But the appraisal is the most important part of the piece, the collateral. If the collateral is not there, it's not there. Now, being in New York, right? What have you seen that has blown up the appraisals when the appraiser comes out? So there's two types of appraisals: subject to and as is.
Right.
As is appraisal means you went into contract for $400,000. It came in for $400,000. As is, no repairs are needed. If it's subject to repairs, then that means there's repairs that need to be done, right? Now, you being a realtor, what have you seen on your end as things that need to be repaired in the home that make the appraisal subject to repairs?
Boilers, the roof, even your insurance is based on the roof. Your insurance company will Google and look down at the roof and say, you know what, you have a higher insurance rate because your roof is damaged, your roof looks old. So all of these things help with the appraisal. You can have a house in the middle of the block that's newly done over and went for $550,000. Just because your house is next door to it does not mean that your house is now worth $550,000, because you need another $100,000 worth of repairs. So what the appraiser come in and say, they'll look at all of that. They even look at the names of the appliances. They look at serial numbers. They look to see how much your appliances cost. Appraisers look at everything. If everything's in there new, then people know, developers know, okay, I know that this is going to bump it up. If your house is older, it's not going to appraise.
Also, with FHA, if you have peel and paint in the house, if there's no handrails on steps, that's a big no-no for FHA. FHA, that will automatically, what you said?
And the windows have to all be able to open and close.
Yeah, and especially if you have a basement, right? If you have basement, sometimes you see to have the bars on the basement windows. Those bars, you have to, it's safety hazard if it doesn't have a latch where you can open it. So those bars have to be removed, or there has to be a latch put onto it. So those are some of the things you need to look at when you're going to look at a home to see, you know, especially FHA, peel and paint, anything health and safety with FHA, they're real stickler on that, and they will require that these repairs need to be done prior to close, because no bank can close if you have a subject to repairs appraisal. Only rehab loans, because all rehab loan appraisals are subject to repairs, because obviously you're doing a rehab loan.
How is your bank with exposed asbestos? Because now I'm starting to see a lot of banks
that's health and safety. And asbestos, especially in the tri-state area, these homes are old, they have asbestos, right? They're gonna want that. If you see termite issues, right? If they're visible termite issues, that's health and safety. I've seen mold in homes, and you can see like the wet ceilings where there's a leak. The appraisers are not blind. They're coming in there to look for problems, because you gotta look at it. Appraiser gets paid for a single family like $525. If he makes that appraisal subject to repairs, guess what he has to do? He has to go back out. So now that's another $200 fee that he can collect by coming out. So you have to make sure when you're looking at these homes, if you notice these things, you automatically should, if you know the seller's not going to pay for it, because some sellers don't care, as is, you take it or leave it, you automatically got to think rehab loan now. Because the seller ain't going to repair it, and the bank is going to say, listen, somebody got to repair it or you're not going to get a loan.